The screen flickered to life in the dim glow of the study, casting shadows like accusations across the oak desk. Tom's fingers froze on the keyboard, his breath catching as the video thumbnail loaded, a tangle of bare skin, urgent whispers, two men locked in a kiss that burned through the pixels. "Oh," he muttered, the name tasting like betrayal, his son's laptop humming innocently under his palms like a confessor spilling sins. He slammed the lid shut, heart pounding against his ribs like a fugitive. But the image clawed its way into his mind, not just the act, but the raw hunger in those eyes, mirroring something buried so deep in his own past it might as well have been a grave. Seattle's relentless rain hammered the window, drowning out the echo of his late wife's laughter from the kitchen downstairs. But upstairs, in this house of ghosts, Tom realized the family secret he'd guarded for decades was cracking open like thunder. Owen slammed the apartment door behind him, the Seattle drizzle soaking his hoodie, his phone buzzing with a text he didn't dare read. "We need to talk." "It's over." From across the room, his roommate glanced up from the couch, but Owen waved him off, collapsing onto his bed with a groan that rattled the posters on the wall. Little did he know, the real storm was brewing back home, where his father's discovery would unravel the threads of their lives, forcing Owen to confront not just his broken heart, but the love his dad had denied for a lifetime. Owen had always known Seattle's rain was a liar, promising to wash away the grime of the city, but leaving everything slicker, heavier, more unforgiving. At 22, fresh out of community college with a half-assed graphic design certificate and a barista gig that paid in caffeine and condolences, he navigated the gray sprawl like it was his personal purgatory. The apartment he shared with Jax, his straight-as-an-arrow roommate from high school, smelled like instant ramen and unwashed dreams, tucked into a Capitol Hill walk-up where the walls were thin enough to hear the neighbors' arguments bleed into your own. That night, as Owen peeled off his wet clothes and scrolled through his phone, the text from Riley glowed like a fresh bruise. "We need to talk." "It's over." Riley, the guy with the crooked smile and the tattoo of a compass on his forearm that pointed nowhere useful. They'd met 6 months ago at a queer poetry slam in a basement bar off Pike Street, where Riley's verses about lost boys in the woods had hooked Owen like a fish on a line. What started as stolen kisses in alleyways evolved into lazy Sundays tangled in Riley's sheets, whispering futures over cold pizza. Owen had finally let himself believe in it, a Rayall shot at love, unapologetic and out loud. But Riley had been pulling away for weeks, late nights at his tech startup job. Excuses about needing space that tasted like lies. Owen's thumb hovered over the reply button, typing "Why? What did I do?" before deleting it. He couldn't beg. Not again. Jax poked his head in from the living room, his blonde buzz cut still damp from the gym. "You good, man? Look like you got hit by a bus." Owen forced a grin, the kind that didn't reach his eyes. "Riley's ghosting me." "Again." Jax winced, crossing the room to flop onto the bed's edge, his massive frame making the mattress dip. "Dude's an idiot." "You're like prime rib, tender, juicy, all that." Jax punched his shoulder lightly, the bro-code affection that had kept Owen grounded since they were awkward teens dodging gym class showers. But tonight, it stung. Owen wanted more than punches and pizza runs. He wanted Riley's hand in his, walking down Broadway without flinching at the stairs. Cross town, in the sprawling Queen and Victorian that had been home since Owen was a kid. Tom Hargrove paced the study like a caged wolf. The laptop sat closed on the desk, a Pandora's box he'd cracked open by accident. He'd come over to fix the Wi-Fi. Owen had texted about it earlier. Casual as ever. Router's acting up. Retired cop turned security consultant? Had driven through the downpour without a second thought. Father-son bonding. He told himself. Keep the kid close. But curiosity, that old devil, had led him to snoop. Owen's browser history was a minefield, Pornhub tabs bookmarked with titles that twisted Tom's gut. Twink gets ravished. Daddy Bear takes control. Videos. Paused mid-frame, a lean guy with Owen's build. Hazel eyes wide with that same vulnerable hunger Tom had glimpsed in his son's rare smiles. Tom's hands shook as he backed out, slamming the laptop shut. He wasn't naive. 30 years on the force had shown him every shade of human frailty. But this boy. His only kid after Sarah's death in that car wreck 5 years back. Tangled in this. Tom sank into the leather armchair, the one Sarah used to curl up in with her mystery novels, and rubbed his temples. At 58, with salt and pepper hair cropped military short and a build softened by desk work, he looked every bit the stoic widower. But inside, a war raged. Owen was gay. The word landed like a punch, not because it shocked him. He'd seen enough in the precinct locker rooms, but because it echoed his own silence. The secret he'd buried under layers of marriage, fatherhood, and denial that summer in '88, during his rookie year in San Francisco, when he'd fallen hard for Mikey, the beat cop with the laugh like summer thunder. The name still ached. They'd patrolled the Castro together, badges gleaming under neon lights, stealing moments in squad cars parked in foggy alleys. Kisses that tasted like cheap whiskey and possibility. But AIDS was ripping through the community like wildfire, and Tom's family back in Seattle, his preacher father, his fragile mother, expected him home, a good Protestant boy to marry and multiply. He ghosted Mikey after a tear-soaked night on the Embarcadero, drove north with the radio blasting Springsteen to drown the guilt. Sarah came later, sweet and steady, a balm for his fractured heart. Owen arrived 2 years after, a squalling bundle that glued Tom back together. Staring at the rain-lashed window, Tom wondered if blood told lies. Had he passed this on? Or worse, hidden it so deep Owen thought he had to conceal it too? He grabbed his keys. The decision crystallizing. He had to tell the kid. Confront it head-on, like any crime scene. But as he stepped into the hall, his boot caught on a loose floorboard, the one under the old chest Sarah had stashed keepsakes in. It popped open with a creak, spilling yellowed letters onto the carpet. Tom knelt, heart stuttering. Envelopes postmarked San Francisco. Mikey's looping script, Tommy? Come back. We can fight this together. One envelope. Thicker. Held photos. Him and Mikey. Arms slung around each other at a pride rally. Faces flushed with defiant joy. And tucked behind, a faded Polaroid of Mikey holding a toddler, dark curls, hazel eyes. Our secret, if you ever want him. The note read, in Sarah's handwriting. Tom had known. She'd found out, somehow, during one of his business trips south. Forgiven him, even helped arrange the adoption papers under the table. Back when queers couldn't dream of families. Owen wasn't his blood. But he was theirs, their love made whole in the shadows. The room spun. Tom clutched the photo, tears blurring the edges. All these years, he'd protected this lie to shield Owen from a world that hated them both. But now, with the videos searing his mind, he saw the irony. His son was living the truth Tom had fled, and it was time to unearth the bones. Owen's phone lit up again. "Dad, on my way over. We need to talk." He groaned, tossing it aside. Just what he needed, a heart-to-heart with the man who'd raised him on cop stories and Catch in the Backyard, oblivious to the rainbows Owen dreamed in. Tom was solid, affectionate in that gruff way, hugs that lingered a beat too long, eyes that softened at Owen's sketches of fantastical beasts. But coming out? Owen had rehearsed it 100 times in the mirror, words dying on his tongue every family dinner. Jax yelled from the kitchen, "Pizza's here. Extra pepperoni for your broken heart." Owen dragged himself up, forcing normalcy. But as he bit into the slice, grease dripping like accusations, Riley's text gnawed at him. He fired off a reply, "Meet me at the park. 10 p.m. No bullshit. The clock ticked toward confrontation on two fronts. Owen didn't know it yet, but the night would crack him open, spilling secrets that bound him to a father he'd never truly known, and a love he'd have to fight to keep. Tom drove through the sheets of rain, wipers slapping like judgment, the Polaroid burning a hole in his jacket pocket. Capitol Hill streets glittered with neon from dive bars and coffee shops, a far cry from the buttoned-up suburbia of Queen Anne. He parallel parked outside Owen's building, engine ticking cool as his resolve heated. Up the stairs, 3 flights that echoed his pounding pulse. Twice. Owen opened the door, surprise flickering across his face, damp hair tousled, hoodie zipped to his chin. "Dad? That was fast." Wi-Fi's in the living room, not about the router. Tom's voice came out rough, like gravel under tires. He stepped inside. The apartment's clutter, a sketch pad open to a half-drawn dragon. Empty beer cans on the coffee table, hitting him like a snapshot of Owen's chaos. Jax waved from the couch, sensing the vibe, and mumbled something about Jim before vanishing into his room. Owen's eyes narrowed, that defensive tilt to his chin Tom knew from teenage rebellions. "What's up? You look like you swallowed a bad donut." Tom pulled the laptop from his bag, borrowed for the fix, and set it on the table. "Found something. Videos. On your history." The air thickened, rain pattering the window like impatient fingers. Owen's face drained of color, hazel eyes widening in that exact mirror of the screen's ghost. "You went through my shit? That's invasion of privacy?" "Yeah. I know." Tom held up a hand, the cop in him demanding calm. "But kid, I'm not here to judge." Took and left, bitter and sharp, backing toward the kitchenette. "Talk? About what? My porn preferences? Jesus. I'm gay." I said it. Happy now. The words hung, a gauntlet thrown, and Tom felt the weight of 40 years crash down. Not happy. Relieved. Tom sank onto the sagging couch, gesturing for Owen to sit. But the boy paced, arms crossed like armor. "Owen, listen. This isn't new to me." "I get it." Owen stopped, skepticism etching lines around his mouth. Mr. Straight Arrow Cop? You had a college fling with a cheerleader? Worse. Tom fished the Polaroid from his pocket, sliding it across the table. Owen snatched it, brow furrowing at the image. Two young men, grinning under rainbow flags, a toddler balanced on one's hip. Who's this? Owen's voice softened, curiosity piercing the anger. Sort of. Tom leaned forward, elbows on knees, the confession spilling like rain from a gutter. That baby's you. 22 years ago. The guy holding you? Partner. Before your mom. Owen's knees buckled. He dropped into the armchair, photo trembling in his grip. Partner? As in? You were gay? With him? And mom knew. She did more than know. She helped us, adopted you, kept it quiet. Back then, it wasn't safe. The department. My folks. Tom's throat tightened. Memories flooding. Mikey's cough turning wet. Hospital visits in disguises. Sarah's hand on his shoulder in the waiting room. Mikey died 91. You were 3. We moved here. Built this life. For you. Owen stared. The pieces slotting with a click that echoed in the silence. So I'm not yours? Biologically. Blood's bullshit. Son. You're mine. Tom's eyes misted. The first crack in his armor. I ran from it all. From him. From us. Thought I was protecting you. But seeing those videos. It hit me. You're braver than I ever was. Owen's laugh was half sob, wiping his eyes with his sleeve. Brave? I'm a mess. Riley just dumped me via text. Probably caught me staring too long at some guy at work. The vulnerability hung there. Father and son stripped bare in the lamplight. Tom reached over, clasping Owen's knee, the same steady grip he'd used for scraped knees and driving lessons. Then fight for it. Like Mikey taught me, love's worth the storm. Who nodded. The photo clutched like a talisman. But outside, thunder rolled, and his phone buzzed. Riley, on my way. The night was far from over. Owen's heart jackhammered as he shrugged on a dry jacket, the Polaroid tucked into his wallet like contraband. The apartment felt smaller now. Walls pressing in with the weight of revelations. Jax's muffled snores absurd soundtrack to the chaos. Tom stood by the door, hands shoved in his pockets, that awkward dad energy radiating concern wrapped in discomfort. You sure about meeting him in this pour? Park's a mud pit. I'll be fine. Owen zipped up, avoiding his father's eyes, those eyes that suddenly held ghosts of their own. The hug Tom pulled him into was fierce, lingering, the kind Owen hadn't felt since childhood sleepovers after nightmares. Thanks. For everything. Go get your guy. Tom's gruff smile cracked, and for a second, Owen saw the young cop in the photo, fierce and unguarded. Then he was gone, door clicking shut, leaving Owen alone with the rain's relentless tattoo. The walk to California Anderson Park was a blur of wet sidewalks and hissing tires, streetlights haloing puddles like faulty halos. Owen's mind raced faster than his boots. Dad gay? Adopted? The phantom father who'd shaped him from afar? It reframed everything, the way Tom had always championed the underdog at precinct barbecues. His quiet donations to AIDS memorials slipped into holiday cards. And the videos, The humiliation burned fresh. Had Dad watched them? Judged the fumbling vulnerability Owen hid behind closed doors? Riley waited on a bench under the park's dripping oaks, silhouette sharp against the fountain's glow. Tall and wiry, with ink-black hair slicked back and that compass tat peeking from his sleeve, he looked like a storm cloud personified. Owen approached, boots squelching, words tumbling out before he could stop them. What the hell? It's over? After 6 months. Riley stood, hands in his jeans pockets, jaw set. Owen. This ain't easy. They perched on the bench, rain sluicing off leaves like tears deferred. Riley's eyes, stormy blue, usually sparkling with mischief, were dull, evasive. It's Jake. My brother. Saw us last week. At the slam. Freaked. Said if I don't end it, he'll tell Mom and Dad. You know how they are, Bible Belt transplants. Still praying the gay away. Owen's stomach twisted, the old knife of rejection plunging deep. Jake, Riley's golden boy sibling. The one who'd crashed their date nights with homophobic jabs disguised as jokes. So what? Let him. We're adults. We can handle their shit. Not him. Them. Riley's voice cracked, and he raked a hand through his hair. Dad's got cancer? Stage 4. Chemo's kicking his ass, and Mom's barely holding it together. Last thing they need is me blowing up the family dynamic. I can't be the villain now. The words landed like punches, each one stealing Owen's breath. Riley's hand found his, thumb tracing circles, a habit that once soothed, now mocked. I love you. Swear it. But this? It's gotta pause. Till things settle. Pause. Owen yanked his hand back, standing so fast the bench scraped. That's code for never. You're choosing them, again. Like when you bailed on Pride because Jake had tickets to the Mariners game. Riley winced, rising to match him. It's not that simple. You're out? Yeah, to your dad. Your friends. But me? I'm still in the closet at home. This could kill Dad. Literally. Owen left, hollow and hurt, rain mingling with the sting in his eyes. And me? What about killing us? You promised? No more half measures. The argument spiraled, voices rising over the downpour, accusations of selfishness, pleas for understanding, until Riley grabbed Owen's collar, pulling him close in a kiss that tasted of desperation and goodbye. Owen melted for a heartbeat, then shoved him back, chest heaving. Fuck you. Go play perfect son. He stormed off, leaving Riley silhouetted in the rain, the park's emptiness swallowing his sobs. Blocks away, Owen's phone stayed silent, no chase, no apology. By the time he stumbled back to the apartment, soaked to the bone, Jax was waiting with a towel and a beer. Rough night. Owen collapsed on the couch, peeling off his shirt, the chill seeping deeper than skin. You could say that. He spilled it all to the dump. The family drama, omitting Dad's bombshell for now. Jax listened, nodding, then cracked a grin. Sounds like you need a rebound. Or therapy. Pick one. Neither. Owen swigged the beer, the bitterness grounding him. But sleep evaded him that night, tangled in sheets that smelled like Riley's cologne, dreams haunted by Polaroids and half-remembered faces. Morning broke gray and grudging, Seattle's fog cloaking the city like a hangover. Owen dragged himself to the coffee shop, the daily grind on Broadway, where the hiss of espresso machines drowned indie folk tunes. His shift blurred, steaming lattes for hipsters in flannel, dodging small talk with the manager, Carla, who eyed his red-rimmed eyes with maternal suspicion. "Boy trouble?" she asked, sliding him a free scone. "Something like that." Owen forced a smile, the kind that tipped okay but didn't invite pity. Carla, a 40-something dyke with a buzz cut and stories from the 90s March on Washington, was the shop's unofficial therapist. She'd outed herself to her trucker dad over Thanksgiving turkey. He hugged her and said, "Pass the gravy." Mid-afternoon lull. The bell tinkled. Riley, sheepish in a hoodie, holding a bouquet of wilted daisies from the corner bodega. Owen's heart lurched. A traitorous flip. "What are you doing here?" "Apologizing." Riley set the flowers on the counter, voice low to dodge customers. "Last night was bullshit." I panicked. But Dad's scan was clear this morning. Remission. Maybe. I told Jake to fuck off. I'm in. All the way. Owen's resolve cracked, the scone turning to ash in his mouth. He glanced at Carla, who jerked her thumb toward the back room, permission granted. In the storage closet, amid sacks of beans and stacked cups, they collided, kisses fierce and forgiving, hands mapping familiar paths. "I can't lose you," Riley murmured against his neck. Breath hot. "You won't." Owen pulled back, searching those blue eyes. But no more pauses. "Out to your folks." "So." "Deal. Deal." Riley's grin returned, crooked and conquering, sealing it with another kiss that promised tomorrows. But across town, Tom wasn't celebrating. He'd spent the dawn in the attic, unearthing more boxes, Mikey's letters, Sarah's journals chronicling the adoption hustle, bribes to shady lawyers, forged docs to skirt the system's homophobia. One entry gutted him. Tom's eyes light up when he holds Owen. This is redemption, messy as it is. Tears came then, hot and unbidden, as Tom realized the cost, a life half-lived, love rationed like wartime rations. He drove to the precinct, Old Habits, for advice from Father Mike, the chaplain who'd buried Mikey and baptized Owen. The office smelled of stale coffee and regret. Father Mike's clerical collar a white flag of neutrality. "You told him?" the priest asked, steepled fingers wise with years. "Yeah." "And he took it?" "Okay." Tom fiddled with his coffee cup, steam curling like doubts. "But now, feels like I'm handing him my failures. Or your strength." Father Mike leaned forward, eyes kind behind wire rims. "You survived the plague years. Tommy. Built a family from ashes. That's the lesson." Tom nodded, the words settling like balm. But as he left, phone buzzing, lunch? My treat, dread flickered. Honesty was a floodgate, what else would pour out? Lunch at a greasy spoon off Aurora. Burgers and fries steaming between them. Undoven, the park fight. Riley's turnaround. Tom's smile was genuine. Pride swelling. "Sounds like a keeper. Just don't let him string you along. Learn that from the best." One winked. The banter light, but his eyes held questions. About Mikey. What was he like? Tom paused, fork midway to mouth, the past rising like tide. Loud. Laughed at funerals. Danced in the rain. Taught me to fight dirty, for what's right. He swallowed. Voice thickening. Miss him every damn day. Owen reached across. Squeezing his hand. Me too. Kinda. The moment stretched. Father-son bridge mending plank by plank. But evening brought shadows. Riley texted Owen, Jake knows. He's pissed. Coming over. Owen's gut clenched, trouble brewing. He didn't know Jake had screenshotted their closet kiss. Ammo for a family war. Nor that Tom, scrolling old emails for closure, stumbled on a chain from Sarah. Mikey's brother reached out. Claims Owen's his by blood. What do we do? The secret's layers peeled back, promising betrayal sharper than any lover's lie. Owen's apartment thrummed with tension that Friday night, the air thick as the fog rolling in from Elliott Bay. Riley paced the living room, phone clutched like a grenade, while Jax hovered in the kitchen, pretending to chop veggies for stir-fry but really eavesdropping. Owen leaned against the counter, arms crossed, that familiar knot of anxiety twisting in his chest. Just tell me what he said. No sugarcoating. Riley stopped, exhaling sharp. Jake's on a rampage. Called me every name in the book, fag, traitor, the works. Says if I don't snap out of it, he'll out me to the whole extended family. Karen, quilted. The cousins at Thanksgiving. His voice cracked on the last. Blue eyes stormy. And you, he's got that photo from the coffee shop. Blurry. But enough. Owen's blood ran cold. The betrayal landing like a sucker punch. Jake had tailed them? Snapped pics like some amateur PI? That slimy fuck. What are we gonna do? Fight back. Jax chimed in, brandishing a spatula like a sword. His gym rat bravado a welcome shield. Tell your folks first. Get ahead of the narrative. Riley shook his head, sinking onto the couch. Can't. Dad's fragile, one whiff of scandal, and it'll tank his recovery. He pulled Owen down beside him, fingers intertwining. We lay low. Let Jake cool off. Owen wanted to argue, to rage against the closet's suffocating walls. But Riley's desperation mirrored his own fears, the what-ifs of family implosion. Instead, he nodded, leaning into the embrace. Riley's heartbeat a steady drum against his side. But not forever. The weekend blurred into a tense idyll, movie marathons with Jax providing comic relief. Stolen moments in Owen's bed where Riley's touches were apologies etched in skin. Owen sketched feverishly, dragons entwined with lovers. Rain-swept streets hiding secret gardens, pouring the chaos onto paper. Tom called daily. Check-ins laced with Mikey anecdotes that wove warmth into the worry. He'd steal donuts from the precinct. Blame the rookies. Ballsy bastard. Sunday brunch at Tom's, pancakes stacked high. Bacon crisp, felt like a truce. Owen brought Riley. Introductions awkward but earnest. This is the guy, Owen said. Hand on Riley's back. Tom shook it firm. Eyes appraising. Heard about the park drama. Kids got grit? Ending it then coming back. Riley flushed, mumbling thanks. But the meal hummed with undercurrents. Over coffee, Tom pulled Owen aside in the kitchen. Vug. Lighter. Good. Yeah. Riley's solid. Owen hesitated. Then, those letters, Did Mikey ever mention family? Blood relatives? Tom's mug paused midair. The question a live wire. Why? Just curious. Building the puzzle. Owen shrugged. But his hazel eyes, Mikey's eyes, pleaded for truth. Tom set the mug down. Voice low. His brother. Estranged. Thought he was in California somewhere. A lie by omission, the email chain burned in his inbox. Sarah's panic fresh, he wants visitation rights. Claims DNA test. Tom had shut it down. Payoffs and threats. Burying the threat deeper than Mikey's ashes. Who nodded, accepting the half-truth. But seeds of doubt sprouted. Back at the apartment, alone while Riley worked late, he Googled, Mikey Hargrove obituary 1991, obscure hits. But one forum post caught his eye, SFPD cops partner seeks closure on lost nephew. Anyone know Tommy H? The rabbit hole deepened. Adoption boards. Whispers of underground queer networks swapping kids during the crisis. Owen's hands shook as he dialed Tom. Voicemail. Then Riley's text, Jake's at my place. Yelling. Owen bolted, hailing a lift through the drizzle-slick streets. Riley's Belltown loft loomed modern and menacing. Floor-to-ceiling windows fogged with argument. He buzzed up, heart slamming, and found chaos. Jake? Red-faced and burly in a Mariners jersey, towering over Riley, who backed against the kitchen island. Disgrace. Dad's rolling in his hypothetical grave. Jake snarled, spotting Owen. This your fault? Poisoning him? Back off. Asshole. Owen stepped between, smaller but steel-spined. Your beef's with Riley. Not me. Jake laughed. Ugly and booming. Oh. It's with both. Freaks like you, ruining families. Not a punch but a shove. Sending Owen stumbling into the counter. Pain flared in his hip, but rage ignited hotter. Riley surged forward, tackling his brother. Enough. Fists flew, Jake's meaty hooks glancing off Riley's dodges, until Owen yanked them apart. Breathless. Stop. This solves jack shit. Jake straightened, chest heaving, venom twisting his face. Tell Mom and Dad. I will. Pics. And this. He waved his phone. A screenshot of the coffee shop kiss. Proof of your perversion. The door slammed behind him, leaving silence thick as smoke. Riley slid to the floor, head in hands, sobs racking. Pulling him close, murmuring nonsense comforts. We'll tell them. Together. Fuck Jake. But Riley's eyes, when they lifted, were shattered glass. What if it breaks us all? Monday dawned with fallout, bruises blooming on Riley's ribs, Owen's hip throbbing like accusation. At the grind, Carla clocked it immediately. Or I'll spike your latte with truth serum, Owen confessed, the fight, the threat, over a slow drip of customers. Carla's face hardened, lines deepening like fault lines. Family's a bitch sometimes. Mine disowned me after Stonewall vibes hit home. Took years to rebuild. She squeezed his shoulder. You and your boy? Lean on the chosen ones. Like me. Or your dad. Owen texted Tom, emergency dinner. Bring beer. The Queen and house glowed welcoming as they arrived. Riley quiet in the passenger seat, fiddling with his compass tat. Tom opened the door, sensing the storm, and ushered them to the study, Sarah's old sanctuary, bookshelves groaning with her thrillers. Over IPAs, it poured out, Jake's rage, the photo blackmail, the closet's chokehold. Tom listened, face a mask of controlled fury, the ex-cop itching for action. Sounds like assault. I could pull strings. No cops. Riley cut in, voice steadying. Just advice. How'd you handle coming out? Back then, Tom's gaze drifted to the window, rain tracing paths like old scars. Didn't? Really? Mikey and I were shadows. Barricade? World was dying around us. No room for parades. The admission loosening. After he passed, Sarah and I, we chose silence. For Owen, Riley's brow furrowed. Owen? Why him? The room stilled, Tom's eyes locking on his son. Owen felt it then, the pivot, the unspoken shoe dropping. Because, Tom said, voice gravel, you're not just mine. You're Mikey's blood. Adopted? Yeah. But his brother, the door buzzer shattered the moment. Insistent? Angry. Tom checked the intercom. A stranger, mid-40s, salt-flecked hair, eyes like Owen's. Tom Hargrove? It's Daniel. Mikey's brother. We need to talk about my nephew. Owen's world tilted. The pieces slamming together, the forum post, the emails, the photos toddler ghost. Betrayal wasn't Jake's, it was blood's late claim, rising from graves to claim him. Daniel stood in the foyer, drenched coat dripping, a duffel at his feet like evidence. With the same jawline as the Polaroid Mikey, he exuded quiet authority, a professor type, guessed, from the wire rims and tweed blazer. I know this is sudden, but after Sarah's passing, I traced the records. DNA doesn't lie. Tom's stance widened, blocking the study door. You got no right here. We settled this. Settled. Daniel's laugh was bitter fog. With hush money? Mikey would have hated that. His gaze shifted past Tom, landing on Owen. You're him. Good. The resemblance. Owen stepped forward, pulse thundering. Me? What the hell does that mean? Riley hovered behind, hand on Owen's back, anchor in the gale. Tom sighed, defeated, ushering them all into the living room. Over cold coffee, Daniel unspooled it. Mikey and Daniel's rift in the 80s. Mikey out and proud. Daniel closeted in academia, fleeing to Boston after their parents' church shunned the family. He sent letters, photos. Then silence. AIDS obit hit like a bomb. Years of searching, dead ends, until Sarah's public memorial notice pinged his alerts. And now, Owen's voice trembled, the word nephew foreign on his tongue. Now, I want in. If you'll have me. Daniel's eyes softened, vulnerability cracking the professorial veneer. Your family. The last piece. But Tom's face darkened. You bailed then. What changed? Regret. Daniel met his stare. And love, for the brother I lost. And the kid he made. The air hummed. Possibilities and pitfalls colliding. Owen glanced at Riley, whose nod was subtle, your call. Heart aching with the weight of secrets stacked like Jenga, Owen extended a hand. Start slow. Dinner next week? Daniel's grip was firm, tears glinting. I'd like that. As he left, promises hanging, the house exhaled. But Owen caught Tom's whisper to Riley, "Watch him." Blood's got claws. Doubt seeded. The family secret's thorns drawing first blood. Weeks blurred into a fragile new normal. Seattle's autumn leaves carpeting the streets in crimson warnings. Owen and Riley dove into coupledom with tentative ferocity, pride after parties in Soto warehouses, where bass thumped like heartbeats and bodies blurred in strobe lights, quiet hikes in Discovery Park, hands linked against the sound's whisper. Jake's threats fizzled into sullen silence, cowed by Riley's preemptive out to his parents, a tearful Zoom where Mom clutched her cross and Dad, voice raspy from chemo, "Just be happy, son. That's all we ask." Owen's sketches evolved too, portraits of Mikey pieced from Daniel's stories, laughing at dive bar karaoke, protesting in leather vests, blended with dragons guarding hidden nests. Daniel slotted in gently, weekly coffees at Elliott Bay Book Company, dissecting queer lit from Baldwin to Maupin, his Boston accent a soothing lilt. Mikey was the firebrand, he'd say, eyes distant. I was the archive, keeping his stories safe. Tom watched warily. Barbecues in the backyard a testing ground. One crisp Saturday, ribs smoking on the grill, he cornered Daniel by the fence. "You show up now? After decades? What's the angle?" Daniel met the glare unflinching. "No angle. Just atonement." He pulled a faded cassette from his jacket, "Mikey's mixtape for you. Tommy." Found it in his effects. Springsteen. Pet Shop Boys. A note scrawled on the liner, "For the boy who runs. Come back when you're ready." Tom's throat bobbed. Cassette clutched like contraband. "Why'd you wait?" "Fear." Daniel's admission echoed his own. "Thought you'd built a wall too high." But Owen. He's the bridge. That night, alone in the study, Tom played the tape. Speakers crackling with ghosts. Mikey's voiceover, cheeky, loving, narrated tracks. "This one's for our first stakeout kiss." Tears streamed as Tom whispered apologies to the dark. The music a lifeline to what he'd fled. By dawn, resolve hardened, no more running. He texted Owen, "Family meeting. All of us. Tomorrow." The Victorian-brimmed Sunday evening. Aromas of pot roast and apple pie, Sarah's recipes. Tom's halting tribute, wafting through. Owen arrived with Riley. Hands intertwined, Daniel solo, bearing a bottle of Napa Red, Jack's tagging along for moral support, his appetite the real draw. Tom stood at the table's head, silverware glinting like nerves. "To truths," he toasted, glass raised, voice steady. Eyes circled the faces, his patchwork family, stitched from loss and love. "I've been a coward. It from Mikey. From you. Owen. From myself." He set the glass down, pulling the Polaroid from his pocket, laying it center, toddler Owen, Mikey beaming. "This is us. All of us." Owen's breath hitched. Riley's squeeze grounding. Daniel nodded, tears unshed. "To Mikey," he echoed. Dinner unfolded in fits, laughter over Mikey's disastrous cooking tales. Silences heavy with what-ifs. Bless him. Cracked jokes about queer polycule barbecues, easing the edges. But post-pie. As Jax washed dishes, the core four retreated to the study. Tom spread letters, Photos. The cassette, Artifacts of a Life Interrupted. Owen traced Mikey's script. First off. Why tell me now? After the videos? Tom chuckled. Rueful. That was the spark. Saw you in them, hungry. Alive. Like him. Couldn't let you hide like I did. Riley leaned in. Curious. And the adoption? Daniel's claim? Legal's mine. Tom glanced at Daniel. Olive branch extended. But hearts shared. If Owen wants. Owen looked between them. Father forged in fire. Uncle unearthed from archives. The men who'd loved across chasms. I want both. All of it. Pugs followed. Clumsy and cathartic. The room a cocoon of mending. But outside. Rain eased to mist. And Riley's phone buzzed. Jake, truce? Dad wants to meet your friend. Owen read over his shoulder. Grinning. Tell him Owen's family. Extended. Nights deepened into winter. The city blanketing in chill. Owen and Riley's love solidified. Proposals whispered in bed. Rings shopped on a whim from a Capitol Hill jeweler. Tom's precinct buddies threw a straight ally bash. Awkward toasts masking genuine cheers. Daniel decamped to Seattle semi-permanently. Adjunct gig at UW. Weekends unearthing Mikey lore over dim sum. One February Eve. Snow rare and magical dusting Queen and Owen found Tom on the porch. Bundled against the flurry. Staring at stars peeking through clouds. Penny for him? Tom pulled him down beside. Arm around shoulders, a dad's unyielding claim. Thinking of Sarah. She'd love this mess. Who nodded. Breath fogging. She knew. About everything. Yeah. Tom's voice thickened. Her last words, let him fly. Wings and all. He squeezed. You are. Proud as hell. Owen leaned in. The weight lifting like snowmelt. Betrayals, Jake's venom. Daniel's delay. Tom's silences had forged stronger bonds. Scars that shimmered. In the distance, Riley's car crunched up the drive. Headlights cutting the dark. Future's bright. Kid. Tom ruffled his hair. Echoing boyhood. Owen smiled. Hazel eyes, Mikey's legacy, sparkling. Damn right. And as the door opened, laughter spilling out, the family secret bloomed not in shadows, but in the full, unapologetic light of home, a testament that love, queer and complicated, endures.